Hey everybody, this is Perch. I'm not sure who this video is for. You could argue it's for the publishers, you could argue it's for the fans. Some people will hear me trying to help out the publishers and say this is me being a shill. Who knows? But I want to convey a little bit of kind of the thought process. So, this is like a game theory type of video. Some of you like those. So, here goes. Here's a data point. Heard today, and I'm trying to cut back on talking to a lot of people in comics. No offense, by the way. Several of you are good friends. You know who you are. I hope. People in comics have this weird kind of self doubt. Where like, oh, I'll bet I don't know if he likes me. Yeah, I hope you know. Like, if I've ever said, "Hey, you're a good guy. I really enjoy you," that means I'm buddies with you. So, and I know some of you listen regularly. So, if you're listening right now, it's like, oh, is he? Yes, it's you. There's other, and I'll call out one person by name because I'm way overdue responding to something. But Brett Booth, I like. He's a good guy. I enjoy Brett. So, but there's many others. Anyway, I've heard from people in comics, and like I said, I'm trying to pull back a little bit because I got over the last like 3 or 4 years, I've gotten to be a sounding board for a lot of people in comics, and it's not uncommon that throughout the day I'm trying to do something, and like 6 hours later I look at my phone, and I've got like I've got sometimes, and once I counted it, like 40 messages from different people, all like, Did you hear Diamond's all fucked?" And it's like, yeah, I heard. I don't know what you want me to do about that. I mean, I'm sympathetic and I try and help everybody, but it's kind of like that we squeezed that lemon to death. Like there's nothing left. I've got no more blood to give. The stone is empty. Um, so I'm trying to kind of back out, but there is. I heard from somebody at DC, somebody at Marvel, and the story is this, and it's contrary to what we might hear in the Beat and Bleeding Cool and other places. But I'm just giving you from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Orders are soft, okay, across the board with major titles, like big time titles, titles that were previously in the top 20. The orders are softening. There's been a significant drop over the last 6 to 12 months that has eroded kind of the benchmarks of comics. I'm talking the Batman, Spider-Man's, X-Men's, those titles. I think DC is realizing that not publishing a Justice League book for a period of time was probably a bad idea. Yes, there have been things like the Ultimate Universe, and there's been things like the Absolute Universe, and lots of people are touting that success. However, a major part of that success has been variant covers and large order buys from stores. And you're seeing wild swings between issue 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. You're seeing anything from 120,000 copies sold down to 50. You're seeing drops that are, if you look at the sales videos, and I point you to them if you haven't kind of looked at those lately. The sales videos are helpful because if you watch a bunch of them, you'll see a very common trend. And the common trend is that you have an issue 1 that spikes, and then it goes down from there. And the problem that you have is that it's not, you can't have a sustainable business if you have a business model that's based on ongoing, and then that ongoing gets eroded after the first sale of something. That's a very different product you're selling. You're not selling a subscription product. You're not selling an ongoing product. You're selling a kind of one issue stunt and then kind of race to the bottom before you get the next one issue stunt. And that's what comics is. And I'm sorry, but people need to hear that. The comics business using that model, and I've said it to death, is so ridiculously unhealthy that it's going to collapse in on itself if it continues. That's the problem. But the argument is it's soft, and people are freaking out a little bit about it because it's throwing a bunch of things into uncertainty. It's and I think even as comic publishers and some creators are celebrating my comic got 200,000 copies. That's excitement for an issue, and that's great. But the sales aren't there across the line. The money isn't there. And keep in mind, this is a completely separate conversation from, are the comics good or not? Are they good? Are they not good? That's another video. This is a video about sales, and the sales are down. The numbers are soft, and it's causing investments to be weak. It's causing contracts with creators to be uncertain, and everything is up in the air. And it's hitting Marvel a lot harder than it's hitting DC. Now, Marvel will never admit that, but Marvel has severe softness in their line. Nothing is clicking. They're about to do they've just announced this Doom storyline that's coming up. I don't even think it has a name yet. But the problem is that, if you're just playing a betting person, a betting man, betting woman, whatever you happen to be, Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four heading a storyline, as much as I love those characters, and I do, they're not sales winners. They typically are soft. The last time we had a Fantastic Four based, multi-comic crossover event, that was Empire. It didn't do well, and it just they're not in that top tier of books. I wish they were. I love the Fantastic Four. It has nothing to do with those characters, but you have to separate whether you like the comics, whether you like the characters, from the sales, and you have to look clinically. It's why if you invest in Wall Street, one of the things they'll tell you is that it's best not to get emotionally attached to the companies you're investing in. There's a reason for that. It's unhealthy to get invested in the comics. To get emotionally invested in the comics, or the businesses, or the stocks, or whatever it happens to be that you're putting your money into, because it will cause you to make dumb decisions. And so that's kind of where comics are at. There's dumb decisions being made. I say all this from the standpoint of, comics being soft is bad news. And I realize on this channel, I probably talk a lot more about bad news than good news. But at the same, and I wish I was, you know what? I desperately wish I was a channel that was talking about kind of, I love this comic this week. I love the other, I should. The fact and the truth of the matter is there are comics I love every week. And I probably should talk more about that. But I'm concerned. I'm a concerned fan, a concerned customer, a concerned retailer, and in some aspect of my life. And I don't want this industry to suffer while I'm enjoying a storyline that nobody else does. I love David Lynch, and just in the last couple of days, I think 3 days ago, David Lynch passed away. It's very sad to me. I think he was a genius film director. I think he was a wonderful creative mind. I think David Lynch is brilliant. I would not build my entire portfolio in Hollywood around David Lynch. I would lose. I would go broke. And I think that there's too many people in comics who are in love with the concept or in love with their own art that they forget about the commercial aspect of it. And I think in order to get through the softness of the market, this is my advice to Marvel or to DC, you have to power through it. This isn't a case, and a lot of people in business screw this up. You're in a hole. It doesn't really matter whether you dug the hole or you fell into the hole or the hole magically appeared one day. There's lots of people on YouTube who will tell you that you did it to yourself, but honestly, that's not important at this moment. The reality is you're in a hole. To get out of the hole, you've got to take steps, but you don't magically teleport out of the hole. You've got to climb out of the hole, which means, health and safety and security and betterness is not going to appear on day 1 or day 30. It's going to appear after 1 or 2 years at best. But if you don't start climbing now, you're delaying you're delaying getting out of the hole. So start climbing. And for Marvel, this means basic things. Number 1, you have to start you have to start putting your bets in titles that are going to go 50 to 100 issues minimum. Right now, as you're putting out books, you have to bet on going that long as a series. That means if you're doing a book saying the all new, all different Venom or whatever the fuck it is, stop. It's called Venom. You got to get rid of that shit. Get rid of anything that feels temporary. If you're doing a book on Dazzler, if you just greenlit a Dazzler book, is Dazzler going to go 100 issues? If you're like, I'm not sure, then don't do it. Is Jean Grey Phoenix going to go 100 issues? Don't do it. Is Uncanny X-Men going to go 100 issues? It fucking well better. So make sure that you're building to that. Put out comics that are going to go 50 to 100 issues and then have a 90% success rate. That means maybe you want to put out a book called The Defenders, or maybe you want to put out I don't know, if you're going to put out a solo Storm book. And this is my question. I asked the person at Marvel. I said, you have a Storm book, you have a Psylocke book, you have a Magic book. Some of those have already been listed as miniseries, but are any of those books going to go 24 issues? And the answer was no, there's no way. And it's like, well, maybe the company will want to keep printing Storm, and I'm quoting here, because I'm like, you know what? Because she's black, because she's a woman. Like, what do you mean, It's like, well, like Marvel really wants to have a book that has a powerful woman. And so, yeah, they'll probably keep that one going. I'm like, that's a shit reason. That's not a reason that will actually hold up over time, because having a powerful woman sounds great, but having a powerful woman that doesn't make any money, ultimately everybody will pretend to like that for a while and then quietly get rid of it. You need to make money. And so every book you put out, you should be shooting for 50 to 100 issues. You have to. And then some of those books won't work. The market won't accept it, but you're going to have to do that. And it also means you're going to lose money a little bit. It means for a period of time, you're going to be printing like Excalibur, and nobody's going to give a fuck about it. It's going to be selling in the high 20s or low 30s. And you're going to be like, wow, this book is barely breaking even. And the answer is correct. Get it to 50 anyway, because the only way we're going to win back confidence in the fans and the customers is if we show some longevity. And that means you're going to have to take some pain. But here's the thing. I can't take out my violin and really feel bad for you, Marvel, because there's a lot of independent companies that are actually losing money on books. They're losing money. You're like bitching about like, this is just barely turning a profit. I mean, look, you have the ability to either break even or turn a profit if you're going to pay Alex Ross to do your cover. So if you're really concerned about some EBITDA there, don't pay Alex Ross to do a cover, and then you make a little bit of profit. Cool. Is it enough to stay in your business? Probably not, but here's the thing. Disney's not going to give a flying fuck about that. Make every book last. Stop kidding yourself. This is the brutal, tough love. Your customers, your fans, your retailers, the people who are putting money in your books fucking hate limited series books. They're tired of it. You could gloss that pig up however you want, Tom, but nobody likes it. And so they will order short. So you have to convince them that no, you're in it for the long haul and you're going to put these books out and you're going to stand behind them. And that is the all new, all different Marvel. The all different Marvel is, hey, we're actually in this business to win and win for the long term. So stay with us. And nobody's going to believe your shit, because gone are the days where everybody thought that Marvel just printed gold. You're going to have to fucking prove it to them now. So do it. So put out the books, take your hits, and a year from now, when these books are still going and you're still investing on them and you're putting long-term storylines in and you're putting a little subplot in the book that may not get paid off for 10 or 12 issues, your fans are going to go, hey, maybe they're serious about this. They're not putting out a TVA story that nobody gives a shit about and nobody believes is going to last past issue 4. Put it out. Put it out and stand behind it. That's what you have to do. If you keep canceling this stuff short, all you're doing is producing a bunch of limited series and training your audience that you don't need to care. And they don't. So next time I get the sob story from Marvel and DC, maybe by saying this, if you guys are listening, you're like, well, I'm not going to call that asshole again. Okay, good. I'm tired of hearing you anyway. You're exhausting. You know the right answer. So do it. Thanks for listening.